Okay, exercise 6. Look at your answers to the questions in exercise 5 and decide if these statements are true or false. Well, actually, this is not that hard. So just read through everything and go through this quickly. Yep. Number 1, Quỳnh Hương, read that. Yes, the answers do not follow the same order as the text. So that's true or false? True, right? Yeah, hello. So 1, true, so you just write true there for number 1. Okay, number 2, Tô Yên, read that. Yeah, the answers may not be the same idea of the paragraph. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Number 1, true. Nó đậu pass rồi, cho nên nó phải học cái này thôi. No, các bạn sẽ đậu trước nó mới đậu pass thôi, nó còn lâu lắm. Okay, number 3, Ngọc Anh. Yeah, some paragraphs contain more than one answer. Yes, because you see 3 and 4, the answer is D, right? So that means that the same paragraph contains the answers for both questions number 3 and 4. Okay, so that's true. Thiên Nga.
Not all paragraphs contain an answer. True.
Yes, not all paragraphs contain an answer. This is true because some paragraph doesn't contain anything. It's just there to distract us. Okay. Number 5, Mừng.
The question will often use synonyms rather than wording from the text. True.
Yes, that's true. The questions will often use synonyms rather than wording from the text. True. So that means of course, the questions, they must use, or normally they should use, some synonyms or similar words, like I often say, some similar words and phrases. Okay, of course they don't use exactly the same words and phrases like in the paragraphs, otherwise it would be too easy for you, right? So they just use some similar words and phrases or some synonyms, so you have to guess, you have to read carefully, just like that. Okay, now let's move on to exercise 7. Quỳnh Anh, read that. Oh, sorry, stop, go.
Look again at the text in exercise 4 and your answers to exercise 5, then complete the gaps in these tables.
Yes, look again at the text in exercise 4. We have exercise 4 there, a smarter way to access the news. You can read that. And your answers to exercise 5, you see BADD, you see that? Yeah. Then complete the gaps in these tables. For example, words in the text, the overall trend, and then just read that and fill out the way. Okay, just do it. That means you try to find some synonyms or similar words and phrases between the text and the question. For example, words in the text, you see the overall trend. Okay, where can we find the paragraph B?
D.
Paragraph D. Yes, paragraph D, line number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, line number 5 from the bottom, right? Paragraph D, line number 4 from the bottom, you see the overall trend, right? And words in the question, where? Which one is similar to the overall trend? Likely?
Which one is it?
Guys, you need to look at questions 3 and 4, because questions 3 and 4, the answer is D, right? So that means paragraph D contains that kind of information, or the information from questions 3 and 4. So read those two questions carefully and figure out some similar words and phrases or some synonyms of the phrase, the overall trend. I can give you one example here. If you read number 3, you see the most popular way. The most popular way means the overall trend. Okay? So you can write the most popular way for number 1, okay? Yeah, you write there. The most popular way, right there. Right here, okay? Yes. Yeah, okay. Can you see that? Okay. So now next you need to fill out the rest. The rest they say, for example, like over half words in the question, over half. Where can we find it? No, I don't say which paragraph, which question, because they say words in the question, right? Which question has that word? Question number 2, over half, yes. Question 2, right? Over half of smartphone users access news via their phones. And we know the answer is A, right? Now look for the synonym of that in paragraph A. Actually, last time we did that already. Because if you want to answer these questions, you must fill out all of the similar words and phrases, right? So we did that last time already. Now you just need to write it right on there. Yeah. For example, you see the word over half right here. It say words in the question. Words in the question means the question is this. Words in the text, that means here. So now for number 2, they give you the word over half. Words in the question is here, right? Now the answer is A. Now you read here and tell me the similar words and phrases here for this word, for these words over half. Which one? Which one?
66%.
Yeah, the answer is 66%, right? Furthermore, 66% of smartphone users are now using the device for news on a weekly basis. So the answer is 66%. Okay? For number 2, you write there 66%. Got it? Now please do the rest. Do the rest. What?
Write it in the word in text.
Yeah. Yes, right there. Okay, now do the rest, guys. Quickly. Okay. Now they say what? Yeah, words in the text. A combination of 2 or 3. Now you need to search for that phrase. Where is that? In the text. Text is here. Question is here. Where? Yeah. Okay. And now you check. The answer is D, right? So you check question 3 and 4. Which one has similar meanings as that phrase, and you write there for number 3. Got it? Where is that? Where is a combination of 2 or 3? Where? Yes, here. Right? That's paragraph D. Now you look at question 3 and 4 and tell me which one has similar meanings as this phrase. Which one? Which one? No, we need the answer for only there's a combination of 2 or 3. Which one means a combination of 2 or 3? Okay, now next, words in the text. We have a combination of 2 or 3, right? So, which paragraph is that? Paragraph D, the last line. You can see a combination of 2 or 3, right? Yeah? You see it? Okay, good. Now, a combination of 2 or 3, and you see the answer, that is paragraph D. And paragraph D, we have the answers D and D for number 3 and 4, right? So read those 2 questions carefully and tell me which phrase or words or whatever has similar meanings to a combination of 2 or 3. Using several methods. Guys, do you agree with that? Yeah, okay, so several methods. Okay, so you can write several methods on number 3, okay? All right, now let's move on to the next one. They give you some synonyms, a quarter of. Now they want you, on the left side, they want you to figure out some similar words and phrases from the text. Okay, we're done a quarter of. What does that mean? And which where can we find it? What? Okay, you don't know. Quỳnh Hương, help her. Yeah, which paragraph? Paragraph D, line number 2, 25%. Underline that. Underline that. 25%. Paragraph D. Yeah, just 25%. Yes, so 25% means a quarter of, right? So you write 25% in number 4. Okay. Now TOEIC, the next one, questionnaire. Where can we find it? Questionnaire. Ok, Ngọc Anh. Thiên Nga. Which word?
Survey.
Yeah, in the survey. Yeah, paragraph D, line number 2. Survey. Across all countries included in the survey. Yeah. So you underline that. Survey. So how do you see it? Paragraph D, line number 2. Survey. Okay. So survey means questionnaire. So you can write survey there. Okay. Oh, the last one. The hell is that? Often. Mừng.
Yes.
Where's that? Often. Synonyms. Now, where can we find it in the text?
I think it's around in paragraph B or C. I'm not really figure it out.
Okay, you don't know? Sop, do you know? Yeah, just check that, guys, and tell me if you haven't figured out yet. Read that again in the text and tell me the synonym of the word often.
Which text?
What?
Which text?
Anything, anywhere, I don't know.
I think it's in paragraph C. The last line regularly.
Paragraph C, last line regularly. Over half of smartphone users, 51% regularly use. Yeah, but we don't need that. No. Of course, not that easy, guys. Yes, very good. On a weekly basis. Paragraph A, the last line. On a weekly basis. Okay? So you can write there. Okay. So after today, you need to check this again. You need to read these again, okay? To figure out some similar synonyms or some words or phrases which have the same meaning. So the next time you know how to do it. Okay? Alright, now let's move on to the next one. TOEIC, identifying different types of information. Read exercise 8 aloud. Yes, read extracts 1 to 6. So we have 6 extracts there, taken from various news reports. Then match the extracts with a label from the box. So we have account, cause and effect, description, opinion, reaction, summary. Or we have some tips on the right side, right? Ngọc Anh, read that.
The matching information text can take time. The set time one approach is to label the paragraph before before starting to answer the questions. Here are some of the types of information. You may be asked to find a fact, a reason, a summary, a cause, and an effect, a conclusion, a description, a finding. By identifying the purpose of each paragraph, it can be easier to link the question to the relevant part of the text. For example, the overall change, however, is not to use just one digital device to access the news, but rather combination of 2 or 3 texts. The most popular way to access the news digitally is by using several methods. Questions. Both the text and question are summarizing factual statements.
Yes. Do you understand this? I'm not asking whether you understand all of the words here. Of course you understand these words because they are very easy. I just want to know whether you really understand this strategy or not. And do you know how to apply them? Read that carefully. Now let's read this together because I agree this one is really hard. Okay, and it is time consuming. Read that again. The matching information. So that means that the type of questions you are dealing with right now, we call it the matching information. The matching information task can take time. I mean, it's time consuming because if you read and you cannot figure out the answer, then you just read again and again and again. You go through everything again. Okay? So it is time consuming. To save time, what can you do? One approach, that means one method, is to label the paragraphs before starting to answer the questions. How can you label that? I mean, you need to read all of the extras and you label them. You say, oh, this one is about accounting or account, or this one is cause and effect, this one is a description, this one is just opinion, this one is reaction, or this one is a summary. You understand? Just you mark it yourself. You read the extract and you mark it yourself. You understand? And then what? What should you do next? Here are some of the types of information you may be asked to find. So here, the type of thing they ask you to find. A fact, a reason, a summary, a cause, an effect, a conclusion, a description, a finding. So that means every time if you read an extract, you need to write maybe somewhere next to that. You write, oh, this is a finding, or this is a cause, this is a fact, this is a conclusion, or a summary, or something. You just mark it like that quickly. So you don't have to read again and again and again. You understand? What else? By identifying the purpose of each paragraph, it can be easier to link the question to the relevant part of the text. For example, we have 2 sentences here. The overall trend, however, is not to use just one digital device to access the news, but rather a combination of 2 or 3. And you can find this from the text, right? Which paragraph is that? I remember that's paragraph D, right? Paragraph D, the overall trend. Okay? And then the next one, the most popular way to access the news digitally is by using several methods, and you can find that in the question. Which question is that? Question number 3. You see, and here they say both the text and questions are summarizing factual statements. Both of them are summarizing factual statements. So you think, oh, maybe they match with each other. You understand? Okay? Yeah. This is the way for you to kind of remember what it is about, so you don't have to read it again and again, because really, seriously, if you don't know how to deal with this well, then you will waste all of your time for this part. Okay? Now, do it. Read all of them and say, for example, like paragraph 1, extract 1, whether it's an account or cause and effect, description, opinion or something. Read that. and I want you to write some word like reaction or opinion or summary next to the number. Okay, instead of writing the number on those words, I want you to write the word on those extracts. Yeah, have you understand? Yes, this one is the, for example, number one is the reaction. So read carefully and write the words there. Have you finished? Yes, okay. Alright, now, Thiên Nga, right? The next, right? Okay, go. Number 1, read that and tell me what it is about.
Tennis fans were left shocked today when the favorite to win the championship was defeated in the third round by an unknown player.
Yes,
Reaction.
this is a reaction, okay? Yes, tennis fans were left shocked today. You see, shocked. I mean, that is the reaction to something, right? When the favorite to win the championship was defeated in the third round by an unknown player. So that is a reaction. They were shocked. Okay? Number 2, Minh. Alright, Sok, go.
According to recent reports, the government feels it is no longer necessary to pay the school meals. The teachers feel that this would be a disaster. However, especially given the recent progress with making dinners healthier for pupils.
Yes. What is that?
Cause and effect.
Cause and effect? According to recent reports, the government feels it is no longer necessary to pay for school meals. Head teachers feel that this would be a disaster. However, especially given the recent progress with making dinners healthier for pupils. No, this is not cause and effect. You understand cause and effect? Cause and effect means if you do this, and this one will happen. If you don't do this, maybe that thing won't happen, or that or this will happen, something like that. So that's a cause and effect. We don't see something like that. Okay? So what is this, guys? Description? No.
I'm taking it opinion.
Yeah, this is opinion. Because you see the word feels quite a few times, right? You can underline that. The government feels it is no longer necessary to pay and something else, and the head teachers feel that this would be a disaster. Okay?
Opinion?
Yeah, opinion. Alright, number 3. Bunan.
People must be responsible for their own health. Otherwise, the national health supply will no longer be able to cope. This was the warning given today by the head of the organization.
Yeah, what's that?
I think it cause and effect.
Yeah, this is cause and effect. People must be responsible for their own health, otherwise the National Health Service will no longer be able to cope. This was the warning given today by the head of the organization. Okay? So first of all, they give that people must be responsible, people must do something. Otherwise, the National Health Service will no longer do this. You see, so if they do this, then maybe the National Health Service will do something. But if they don't do that, then the National Health Service will do something else. So that is cause and effect. Okay? Okay. Now number 4, Quỳnh Hương.
Overall, last year was a very good year for the nation economy. The unemployment rate was there, more jobs were created, and generally people felt that they had more money to spend. Summary.
Yeah, summary. Why do you know?
They tell a story about last week. What happened?
Yeah, also you see, you can underline the word overall. Overall. Okay, you just underline some keywords there. For example, number 1, you underline something like word short, word left short. Okay, extract 1, you underline word left short. And number 2, you underline some words like fields. Okay, fields, we have 2 fields there, fields and field. The government fields and head teachers field, right? And number 3, we have must be responsible otherwise. Okay, must be responsible and then otherwise. And then we say like warning. Okay, and number 4, you can underline overall, because normally when we say overall, that is kind of the summary of something, right? So overall, last year was a very good year for the nation's economy. So the unemployment rate was down, more jobs were created, and generally people felt they had more money to spend. All right, TOEIC number 5. Yes, so what is this? Account? Yeah, this is a description. Yeah, serious. Yeah, I know. So a description and an account is quite similar. I also agree, but later on I will give you some ways to distinguish them. Yeah, the Queen landed to a red carpet welcome on Tuesday. As she opened her visit to the USA, she was greeted by hundreds of guests, together with the president and his family. So this is a description. Number 6.
A 16-year-old man was arrested today after he was caught stealing from his local shop, according to a witness. He was wearing black clothes and a mask during the robbery.
Okay, what is this? Account. Yes, you can write account for number 6. A 60-year-old man was arrested today after he was caught stealing from his local shop. According to the witness, he was wearing black clothes and a mask during the robbery. And this is an account. So guys, read these 2 carefully and tell me the difference. What do you think? Why one is a description and the other one is an account? Why? Can you recognize the difference? First of all, an account, because it's easier to recognize. Now, what is special about an account? The age, okay. What else?
Because you can see what.
You see a lot of what? No. They mentioned about the age of the man, right? What else? Yeah, his clothes. What else? Yeah, a 60-year-old man. So talking about like the age, and then the clothes, and something like caught stealing from his local shop, and mask, right? Black clothes, mask during the robbery. Do you see like all of the details there? Okay. So that means that an account is a detailed report or explanation of what happened. So you can write somewhere, note somewhere, an account is a detailed report or explanation of what happened. Right, fast. An account is a detailed report or explanation of what happened. Now tell me, if you want to describe, now I'm using the word describe, for example, like a meeting or like a date or something between you or your friends with some other people, do you say that, okay, my friend, she is 18 years old and yesterday she wears this and that and she met that person in exactly that location and she did that, you know, too much in detail. Do you do that for description? No, right? For example, if I ask you, hey, what did you do yesterday? And you say, you don't say like, okay, yesterday I was 18 and I wore that one and did that. Too much in detail. No. Okay. So description is kind of different. So remember, an account is a detailed report or explanation of what happened, and it often includes something like facts, events, reasons, and sometimes the writer's perspective. So that's what we call an account. The description is kind of something like is a picture in words of what something looks like, feel like, or is like. Yeah, maybe some features, appearance, characteristics, but not the whole story. A report normally is an account normally is longer and description is shorter. Okay, and not too much in detail. For example, you look at the Queen landed to a red carpet to welcome on Tuesday. Yeah, they talk just kind of very generally about what she did. Okay. She opened her visit to the USA, she changed that, and she was greeted by hundreds of guests. They don't say exactly like how many people there and who saw her, something like that, together with the president and his family. Okay? So description is kind of more general and talk more about the feeling or something. And an account is based on the facts. Okay? Based on the facts and very much in detail. Okay? So that's what you have to do after reading some extras. You need to figure out, okay, what is it about? A reaction, opinion, or summary, a cause, effect, description, or an account. Something like that. And then when you read the questions and you see, oh, the questions is also about that. It's also about a reaction or opinion or something. Then you see maybe they match with each other. So you can read more detail and you may read carefully. You understand? Okay, now do you have any questions? Any words, anything you don't understand? Yeah?
Paragraph 3. What does cope mean?
Okay, we'll no longer be able to cope. Cope, what does that mean? To deal with, yes. Otherwise, the National Health Service will no longer be able to cope. I mean, will no longer be able to deal with. What else?
In paragraph 6, line number 1.
Yeah. Arrested. Paragraph 6, line number 1. Arrested. What does that mean?
When the police come and ask you to go to jail.
Well, let's come and ask you to go to jail. Yeah, arrested, kind of like that. Okay. I mean, they just arrest you first. Maybe they to make sure you won't run anywhere first. Bị bắt đó. Okay. A 60-year-old man was arrested today. Anything else?
What the same paragraph?
Yeah.
What does witness mean?
Paragraph 6. Line number.
According to a witness.
Okay. according to a witness. Witness, what does that mean?
Like the person who see the whole thing happen.
Yeah. Witness, that means a person who sees that kind of thing, normally that crime. Okay? According to a witness, that means a person who sees that or who observes that event or crime, so we call that a witness. We also have witness as a verb, but in this case, this is the noun. Okay? What else?
Paragraph 4. What does unemployment mean?
Unemployment. Okay, yes. Guys, unemployment rate was down. See that? So unemployment rate, what does that mean?
Like the percentage of people who don't have jobs.
Yes, exactly. Unemployment, that means have no job. Unemployment rate means the percentage of people having no job. Unemployment rate, percentage of people. Okay, the percentage of people having no job. What else? Nothing?
Paragraph 5. Line number 1. The
Red
red carpet.
carpet. Paragraph 5, line number 1. Red carpet. What does that mean?
Like a mat.
Yeah, like a.
Where the king and queen of the
Yeah. Carpet is like a mat. Okay? And this is just red. So the queen landed to a red carpet. I mean, like a red mat, but we don't call it mat. Otherwise, people might think it is like something you use at home. But here, you use red carpet. It's like in some kind of special events. Yeah, it's much longer. Yeah, that's right. Thảm đỏ đó bạn.
What thing do you think this is?
I don't know. Normally we don't have so many queens, right? So probably we are talking about British queen.
It should be Elizabeth.
Yeah, probably Elizabeth II or something. I don't know. Okay? Queen Elizabeth. What else? What? What else? No? Nothing? Okay, good. So of course, after today, you also have to read all of those extras again, and you have to learn what is a reaction, what is an opinion, cause and fact. Because trust me, this one is time consuming. Okay? I mean, it takes too much time to read because, for example, you read. What thing? What's your question? Ngọc Anh, what's your question? Okay. Guys, imagine you have a lot of paragraphs and you have some questions and they ask you to match them together, right? So to match them, of course, first of all, you have to read all the questions and then you have to read all the extras. And then after reading all of them, you might forget what it is about, right? And then for the next question, you have to read all again. Another question, you have to read all again. But at least after reading, you need to figure out, okay, this is a reaction, this is an opinion, this is a cause and fact or something. It's very helpful, okay? Otherwise, you won't be able to finish this on time. Yeah? Time consuming, that means taking too much time. Okay? Okay, exercise 9. Who's next? Thiên Ngao, right? Okay, read that.
Use text for the main ideas, then label each paragraph with one or
Yes. Skim this text for the main ideas, then label each paragraph with one or more of the descriptions from the box. Again, we have cause and effect, factual, opinion, problems, reason, summary. Read them all and write those words there. Yes, fast. How the younger generation consumes the news. Read that fast. So, focus. Probably before doing this, we can have a short break for 10 minutes, okay? Yeah, 10 minutes. Yeah, this is quite long. This is quite long. After reading this and doing all of this, we'll be tired.
the truth, and as shown by a recent study carried by the Media Insight Project, American Press Institute and Associated Press. According to the research, 85% of youngsters say that keeping up to date with the news is important to them, and 69% of receive news on daily basis. Opinion and factual.
Yes. Okay, after reading this, you see here is all about opinion and factual. What do you know? This is opinion and factual. Tell me which one is about the opinion and which one is about the factual things. Tell me which one. When do you know?
I don't know how to explain why.
That means you don't understand. Read that again.
I just like around 70% of understanding this.
Okay. Now let's do the easier thing first. Factual, because that one is easy, right? Factual means something you must see some numbers or something for real, and that's the factual thing, right? So based on what?
85%.
Yes. So some factual things like, according to this research, 85% of youngsters say that keeping up to blah blah, and then 69% receive news on a daily basis. So that's the factual thing. Okay? How about opinion? Where is that? Opinion is not the factual thing. That's just the opinion of a person or an organization or something.
85% of youngsters say that keeping up to date with the news is important to them.
Yeah, also, yes, that's also like they say that, right? 85% of youngsters say that keeping up to date. So that they say that thing that they show their opinion, yes. What else? Is that it?
Yes.
Do you see the opinion anywhere else? Well,
There has been a growing concern by researchers and indeed the older generation that younger generation are somewhat disengaged from the news.
yes, that's right. In recent years, there has been growing concern by researchers, and indeed, the older generation that the younger generation are somewhat disengaged from the news, and as a result have a very narrow view of the world around them. So this is an opinion of whom? Whose opinion is this? Whose opinion is this? The researchers? Youngsters?
And the older generation.
Yeah, we see some kind of info, like the researchers, right? There has been growing concern by researchers, and also indeed the other. But these are not only the researchers. Who else? No, youngsters below that. We are talking about that part in recent years until the world around them. The younger generation is somewhat disengaged? No, they don't think so. Who? Older generation? No, they mentioned the older generation, the younger generation. They mentioned about both of them, right? But is this what they think? No, this is the view of the writer. The writer's opinion, right? If that is the opinion of the older generation or the younger generation, they must say that, oh, the older generation think this, okay, or say this. Just like when you read the rest of the part, they say 85% of youngsters say that keeping up to date. So that is the opinions of the youngsters, yes. Okay, because they say that. But above, you say they don't say that, oh, these people say that. No, you just see that they mention about that one. So that is the writer's perspective or the writer's opinion. Got it? So we have here we have the opinions of the youngsters, of some people here, and also the writer. And also we have some factual thing, right? The fact.
Select answer.
What?
Select the answer.
Opinion and factual, both of them. And it is written down there.
I mean, what the answer in the paragraph?
The answer in the paragraph? Yes, you can underline. No, you mean for the opinion?
Yeah.
For opinion, you can say like opinion. Opinions. I mean, younger generation are somewhat disengaged from the news. You can underline that. Line number 4. The younger generation are somewhat disengaged from the news, and as a result, have a very narrow view of the world around them. So the whole thing. So that's the opinion. Okay? Because if someone said, oh, you guys just have a narrow view of the world around you, so that's just their opinion, right? It's not the real. It's not based on any fact. Okay? Now, let's move on to the next one. Stop reading the next one. Paragraph B.
Perhaps what some of the older generation fail to understand is that just because the younger generation does not buy a daily newspaper, it doesn't mean that they don't follow the news. Born into a digital age, or more specifically, the age of the internet, the younger generation simply accesses news through the new digital device. They grew up using laptops, tablets, smartphones, etc. A recent study products
Produced.
by Ofcom
Revealed.
that 60% of youngsters in UK use the internet or app for news compared to just 21% of those in the older age range.
Okay. After reading all of that, now tell me, what is it about? Problems? You don't know, okay. Now again, just like paragraph A, do you see some numbers there? So when you see the numbers, that means it's real. That is the fact. They cannot just give some kind of, opinion number, right? So that is factual. You can write factual there. And one more thing, what is that? No, not the problem. Reason, yes. Reason and factual. So factual, of course, you see like 60% of youngsters in the UK use the internet or apps for news compared to just 21% of those in the older age range. So that's the factual thing, right? And now, reason, tell me, where? For factual, you can analyze something 60%, 21%, okay, so, yeah? 60%, 21%. So that is factual. Now, reason, where's that? Where can you see some reason for something?
Perhaps what some of the older generation fail to understand is that just because the younger generation does not buy a daily newspaper, it doesn't mean that they don't follow the news.
Yeah, so that's the first thing. What else? So they just give some kind of thing to discuss, but what is the reason why they don't buy a daily newspaper? why the youngsters or the younger generation does not buy a daily newspaper? Why?
60% of apps.
No, that's too far away. Why? Why they don't buy a daily newspaper?
I don't know.
Because born into a digital age, especially age of the internet,
Mhm.
the younger generation simply accesses news through the digital devices.
Yes. Okay. So the reason why they don't buy a daily newspaper, because they simply access news through the digital devices they grew up using: laptops, tablets, smartphones, etc. Right? So they give the reason for something. Okay? So you can mark that. You can mark that one. The younger generation simply accesses news through the digital devices they grew up using: laptops, tablets, smartphones, etc. So that is the reason of something, right? We have the factual thing, we have the reason thing. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to distinguish between a reason and a problem. Doesn't really matter, guys, as long as you see something, oh, okay, and then you can really relate to the question, and it's fine. Okay, perhaps say you would done.
Social media also plays an important part in consuming the news for the younger generation. It was also revealed that most bloggers actually don't seek out news on social media, but choose to follow it once they see it there. In other words, they encounter it accidentally and therefore following the news is secondary. For example, when accessing social media sites, news headlines automatically appear. These catch the user eye and consequently the news is click and follow.
Okay, what's this?
I think it's follow or listen.
Well, actually, this is cause and effect. You can write cause and effect there, and next time tomorrow we will explain this. Yeah. Okay, that's it for today, guys.